all the white tourists coming from Italy and Greece and Russia would not see the Wig Room. They would not be shown the Wig Room. But all the African American tourists who were with people who come from the time of Joseph ben Jochanaan, we would go and we would see the African Wig Room. It's extremely important to see. So this, I'm telling you this, that Hawass will not tell you that Egypt was a Black African civilization. He would never say that. He would not say that because the Arab establishment in Egypt would be shocked, particularly since so much of what they have done is to attack the African population of Egypt and to sideline the African people so much in that country. So that some people go to Egypt and come back and say, well, I didn't see any Black people. Well, there are Black people all over Egypt, and there are definitely Black people in the southern part of the country. And those people have been there for thousands of years. He doesn't show, Zahi Hawass will not show you the connectivity between Kemet and Kush and other African civilizations. He would act as if somehow Kush and Kemet were on different continents, when in fact they flowed into each other. The confluence of those cultures was such that there was such intermingling between these two Black civilizations, not one Black and one white. They were both Black civilizations in antiquity. So people say, well, how could that be? They fought each other. I said, just like France and Germany fought each other, and they're two white civilizations. That's how Kush and Kemet were. They were civilizations that were contiguous to each other. And so, yes, there were times that they had differences and conflicts. But for the most part, that civilization remained the same basic civilization. And the Kushite civilization was what restored the civilization of Kemet when they were losing it. It was the Kushite people who understood the ancient traditions of Kemet. So it's extremely important because during the whole period when the development of the mythos during the Messuite, you have on the walls of the cave paintings in Africa, particularly the Ineti in Chad and the Tassili in Algeria. You have these paintings, and some of these paintings have hieroglyphics on them. And you say, wow, this was before writing. I guarantee you that Zahi Hawass will not mention the work of Luca La Sala in Kuka. And Luca La Sala in Kuka, much like Bilolo and Teofilo Benga, these are Congolese scholars who do deep and powerful work on showing the interconnectivity of African civilizations. And Nkuka's work is some of the most exciting because he goes back to look at the relationship between the Bakota and the Bakongo and the ancient Kemet people. He has he's a very brilliant brother. Brother says that and he has a theory called theory of devolution. He says one system can replace another, and one people can replace another on the ground and try to take over the concepts. And I think about this theory of devolution when I think about what happened to ancient Kemet. What happened to ancient Kemet after the 7th century takeover of Kemet by Arab civilization was that there was almost a systematic devolution. There was a system to try to take down, to demolish everything, including the places of worship and reverence and so forth. Now, I must say this, and some people who hear this may not understand or like this, but this is true. However, before, and I write about this in the history of Africa, before the Arabs came, the Christian ideology had also undermined the ancient African civilization. And not only had they undermined it, but the Christian religion, starting from the city of Alexandria, had gone throughout the country, destroying as many temples of ancient African history and culture as they could. This job was to be left to be finished by the Arab culture, but the Christian culture, mainly out of Alexandria, and because of the Coptic Church, also began a big replacement on the ground of African cultural elements. This is extremely important stuff for you to know and to realize. Uh, the capture of symbols, the distortion of symbols, this is the source, as Ridley always would say, the source of conflict. Flags, you create the flag. And in fact, the representation of God in the ancient Medu Neter, Chicam language is like a flag. It's a flag. That's where we get the flag from anyway. That's what people, the symbol of Neter is the flag. And this was what the military would go into war with. We go with different flags. You see, we hold the flags up and go into battle with their flags. So that's why the Neter is like that. And so people fight these symbols. People fight over this. And but if you know that, if you understand this, you will also understand that Zahi Hawass has no respect for what was done by Boval and Brophy when they discovered Napta Playa again. And they wrote their book Black Genesis, talking about this place where that was before before Menes established Kemet in 3400 BC or thereabouts. Before that was Napta Playa, which is now out in the desert. But that was a place that obviously it had great circulation of humanity working and trying to align sculptures with the stars, with the sky. But even before Napta Playa, now this is sort of off of Kemet. This is South Africa in Mpumalanga. You have Inzalo Ilanga that is said to be 100,000 years old. I told you humanity starts 300,000 years old. Oh, but they have dated Inzala Ilanga to 100,000, which leaves 200,000 before. But that's old, and all of that is much older than Kemet. But Kemet is important because it is the monumental flourishing of African thoughts coming from the south, going down the river. That's the power of it. The notion that they have to try to erase African history in today's Egypt is one of the worst intellectual uh, distortions or dishonest things that you can think of.